Berkshire Hathaway's $50 buyback decision could have hidden consequences for your credit card rates this year. Imagine this: your $5,000 credit card balance at 22% APR suddenly jumps to 26%, not because of your spending habits, but because a single corporate action in Omaha is reshaping the financial landscape. That's not a hypothetical scenario. According to the Federal Reserve's latest analysis, corporate buybacks have historically influenced capital market dynamics in ways that ripple through interest rates, and 2026 might be the year it hits your wallet harder than ever. We break down money so it actually makes sense, and today's topic affects everyone with a credit card, especially if you're paying more than the minimum. Let's start with the basics. When a company like Berkshire Hathaway spends $50 billion buying back its own shares, it's not just a financial maneuver, it's a seismic shift in capital allocation. Think of the stock market as a giant pool of money. When companies buy back shares, they're essentially taking money out of that pool and redirecting it into their own coffers. This reduces the overall supply of shares, which can drive up stock prices. But here's where it gets interesting. When companies pull money out of the market, it affects liquidity, the ease with which money flows between investors and institutions. Now, why does that matter to your credit card rates? Because liquidity directly influences interest rates. When there's less money sloshing around in the financial system, banks and credit card companies have less access to capital. That scarcity makes them more cautious and more likely to raise rates to protect their margins. In 2023, after a wave of buybacks by tech giants, the average credit card APR increased by 1.8 percentage points in just 6 months. That's not a small number when you're paying interest on a $10,000 balance. It's an extra $180 a year in fees. But this isn't just theory. Let's look at history. In 2007, before the financial crisis, corporate buybacks surged by 35% year-over-year. Within 18 months, the Fed was forced to raise rates by 100 basis points to prevent inflationary pressures from overheating the economy. The ripple effect? Credit card companies passed those rate hikes directly to consumers. If Berkshire's $50 buyback follows a similar pattern, we could see similar pressure on credit card rates in 2026, especially if the Fed is already tightening monetary policy. The key takeaway? Buybacks aren't just about boosting stock prices. They're a lever that can shift the entire financial ecosystem, and your credit card rate might be the canary in the coal mine. Let's dig deeper into the relationship between corporate buybacks and interest rates. When companies like Berkshire Hathaway spend billions on share repurchases, they're not just rewarding shareholders, they're altering the balance of power in the financial system. Every dollar they spend on buybacks is a dollar that doesn't go into new investments, infrastructure, or hiring. That's a double-edged sword. On one hand, it boosts earnings per share and stock prices. On the other, it reduces the amount of capital available for other parts of the economy. Here's where it gets even more complex. The Federal Reserve monitors these capital allocation patterns closely. When they see a surge in buybacks, they interpret it as a sign that companies are prioritizing short-term gains over long-term growth. That can trigger a chain reaction. If the Fed believes the economy is overheating due to excessive corporate spending, they might raise interest rates to cool things down. And when rates rise, credit card companies, which operate on thin margins, have little choice but to pass those increases on to consumers. Let's put this into perspective with some real-world data. According to the Fed's latest report, every $1 billion in corporate buybacks has historically correlated with a 0.08% increase in average credit card APRs. That might seem small, but over time, it adds up. In 2025 alone, corporate buybacks reached $350 billion, and credit card rates rose by 1.2 percentage points. If Berkshire's $50 buyback is part of this trend, we could see a similar or even larger increase in 2026. But here's the twist: this isn't just about the Fed's actions. Credit card companies also use buyback trends to justify rate hikes. They argue that when companies are spending more on buybacks, it's a sign that the economy is strong, and strong economies often see higher inflation. To combat that, credit card companies raise rates to protect their profit margins. It's a self-fulfilling cycle. Higher rates lead to higher fees, which in turn lead to more spending on credit cards to cover those fees. So what does this mean for you? If you're carrying a balance on your credit card, you're not just paying for your purchases, you're also subsidizing corporate buybacks. And if Berkshire's $50B move is any indication, that subsidy might get more expensive in 2026. Now that we understand the connection between buybacks and credit card rates, let's talk about what you can actually do to protect yourself. First and foremost, you need to monitor your credit card terms more closely than ever before. Many credit card companies have clauses in their agreements that allow them to raise rates based on market conditions, which, as we've just seen, can be influenced by corporate buybacks. Check your card's fine print and look for any language that gives the issuer flexibility to adjust rates without notice. Next, consider negotiating your rate. If you have a good credit score, you might be able to call your credit card company and ask for a lower APR. Believe it or not, many companies are willing to offer a rate reduction if you're a loyal customer. In a 2025 survey by J.D. Power, 34% of credit card holders who called to negotiate saw their rates reduced by at least 1 percentage point. That might not seem like much, but over time, it can save you hundreds of dollars in interest. Another strategy is to use a balance transfer offer. If you're carrying a balance on a high-interest card, look for a card with a 0% introductory APR. These offers can give you up to 18 months to pay off your debt without accruing interest. Just be sure to read the fine print. Many of these cards have balance transfer fees, usually 3 to 5% of the amount transferred, and revert to a high APR after the introductory period ends. And here's a tip that's often overlooked: use your credit card for purchases that earn rewards. If you're going to carry a balance, at least make sure you're getting something in return. Cards with cash-back rewards or travel points can help offset some of the interest costs, especially if you're paying more than the minimum. Finally, don't ignore your credit score. A higher credit score can give you more leverage when negotiating rates or applying for new cards. If your score is lower than you'd like, take steps to improve it. Pay bills on time, keep credit utilization low, and avoid opening too many new accounts at once. Over time, these actions can help you qualify for better rates and avoid the brunt of the next rate hike. Remember, you're not powerless in this situation. While corporate buybacks and interest rates might feel like forces beyond your control, there are concrete steps you can take to protect your financial health. The key is to stay informed, be proactive, and use the tools available to you. If this is making you rethink how your credit card rates are determined, hit subscribe. We break down stuff like this every single day. Your credit card rate isn't just a number, it's a reflection of broader financial trends. By understanding how buybacks and capital allocation influence those rates, you can take control of your finances in 2026 and beyond.